Tripping. Tripping with Theo Bowl.
Come on, Dre.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Tripping with Theo Bold. I'm your host, Andre Theo Bold. Welcome to the show. Let me just make sure that I'm on and popping. Because it's weird. I'm getting some weird behavior here. Huh. Okay. Looks like I'm up. Okay, good. Let me just check my audio right quick. Doop doop boop. Mic check 1 2. Make sure people can hear me in this joint. Oh, here we go. Check my audio. Just double check something real quick. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, I'm good. Hey, y'all. Welcome to another episode, like I said before, of Tripping with Theo Bold. I'm your host, Andre Theo Bold. Welcome to the show. Before we go any further, AT is where it's at on most forms of social media, so make sure you follow me. Boom. So, what am I tripping on today? What am I tripping on today? Man, when you gotta produce yourself, man, a lot of things you got to do, and it's like everything is all planned out, and then as Murphy's law says, what can go wrong will go wrong. So let me God damn it, man, trying to be professional, man, and I'm giving y'all the struggle right now. Hold on a second, put that there. Boom, that's good enough. That's good. Yeah. All right, man. So you know what I'm tripping on today, man? Like I said, man, tripping on He-Man, man. You know, Master of the Universe, you know what I'm saying? Like when I was young, you know what I'm saying, or what He-Man I think tried to, or what the He-Man cartoon I think tried to teach young boys or young people in general, right? Is I think it tried to teach us, you know, how to be brave, how to be courageous, you know? Um and man, like at recess, I remember at recess, like in second and third grade, I remember playing, like we used to like play or pretend to play like favorite cartoon characters or whatever. And you know, everybody wanted to be He-Man, you know, even me, you know, I was out there shouting by the power of Grayskull with the stick, you know what I'm saying? And I have the power and all that, you know. Um, but you know what's crazy is after all that courage and all that um build up and all that hype, I was still afraid to go into my basement at home. I was scared to death of our basement. Like our basement wasn't like creepy. I just didn't like the fact of like going downstairs, I think, you know? Like I just really did not like going into the basement. It wasn't like it was a pretty modern home. Excuse me. Um right, it was a pretty modern home, and I just didn't like going downstairs in the basement, you know? And my mom knew that. All right, my mom knew that I was petrified of the basement after watching all that He-Man and being brave and all that stuff. My mom knew I was afraid to go into the basement, you know? So what she would do is, man, she would I'm losing my voice. I don't know what's going on. Damn. And Murphy's Law, man, man, Murphy's Law show up like a motherfucker during the live stream, man. Everything that can go wrong, gonna go wrong, man. Voice leaving, man. My phone acting up. Everything I had set up ready to go. It's like Murphy's Law just sitting around waiting. It's like, you think you're gonna be successful shooting this live stream? Watch this, right? So, anyways, nah, man, I was afraid to go into the basement, you know. And my mom knew I was afraid to go into the basement. So what she would do, man, is she like stockpiled all my He-Man toys at one time. Like, she went out and just bought like damn near the whole collection of He-Man when I was a kid. And she hid them in the downstairs shower because no one was using the shower downstairs, you know. But now when I go home, like, that's like me in the basement are like best friends. But anyways, man, my mom like went out and bought like damn near every He-Man action figure, and she hid them in the downstairs shower, right? Because she knew, right? She knew I was too afraid to that I would be too afraid to go in the basement. So one day, I remember like it was like late afternoon, and the way my house is set up is when you enter the main door. When you open the door and you go downstairs, like there's a direct path to the bathroom, right, straight ahead, right. So I remember the sun being at a certain, like, it was like at a certain position in the sky to where when the sun came through the front door, or when it shone through the front door, it like led directly to like the bathroom, you know? Um and I don't know why, but we had the front door propped open for something. Like, I was outside playing. I don't know why we had the front door propped open, but I remember I had to go to the bathroom, and the sun or the sunlight shone through, and it went right to the bathroom, right? It was like the sorceress, was guiding me. Like, it's like the sorceress was guiding me to the toys and shit. Anyways, the that light was like shining through to the bathroom or whatever, and I had to go to the bathroom. So I ran downstairs, uh, went to the bathroom, and when I got done and I washed my hands, when I was shut, because you had to come. Our shower's weird, right? Like the front, like the bathroom door, kind of blocks the shower entrance, if that makes sense. So when I shut the door, or while I was closing the door, um, uh, so I'm fucking this story up, man. I'm just trying to figure this. Like, long story short is that the light shone through the bathroom and gave me enough confidence to go to the bathroom in the first place downstairs. And then I cut the light on in the bathroom, did what I had to do. And then for some reason, I shut the door or was closing it, and I saw a He-Man action figure box like peeping out from under the curtain. So I was like, oh man, He-Man, what the fuck is a He-Man toy doing in the basement, right? And then, man, I pulled that shower open, man. It was a mountain of just all He-Man action figures, man, like brand new. Cause my mom would, like I said, that was like her stockpile, you know what I'm saying? Like, so for like my birthday, she would go in there, grab a couple, wrap them up. Happy birthday, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, Christmas, okay, grab a couple, wrap them up. But I found the stockpile of like all the He-Man action figures, man. So, man, it felt like my birthday in June because it was like in the summertime when this happened. And I went upstairs and I was like, Mom, I found He-Man in the shower. And she looked at me, and that sounded weird. I found He-Man in the shower. That sounded kind of weird. But I was like, Mom, I saw some He-Man toys in the shower. Uh I was like, can I have them? And she looked at me like, God damn it, you found it. You know what I'm saying? So um yeah, man. So she was like, yeah, go ahead. So I went ahead and I had all my action figures, or the rest of my He-Man action figures, all at one time, you know? Um, and you know what's funny about that is, like, I still didn't have enough courage to search the rest of the house, you know? It's like my house was a Castle Grayskull, and I'm looking, and I should have been trying to find the secrets, You know what I'm saying? Like if you He-Man, you should be trying to find the secrets in the house. Um, so yeah, that's crazy, man. Like, because one would think that if that was true, what else is true? You know? Like, what if, like, you know what I'm saying? She had like different rooms in the basement that were set up for all my favorite like cartoon characters and stuff, or all my toys, you know? So yeah, so I didn't have enough courage to search the rest of the house, but was happy with all my I was happy with all my He-Man action figures, you know what I mean? So uh yeah, so like when you're playing at recess, like it's fun at recess and shit to like pretend to have courage, you know what I'm saying? But when you actually got to do it, man, it's a pain in the ass because it's like life and death. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, going in the basement was like life and death. And courage is something that you don't play with. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes time to fight or flight, like what you gonna do? You know? And because I didn't have to go into the basement for anything, um, there was no need to tap into that courage, right? Like a lot of people, I guess, like to tap into that fear or that courage muscle, you know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. And that's why I think I don't like horror movies, man. I'm like, why? I'm like, why do I want to be scared? You know? Like, why do I want to pay some money to go watch something on to watch something on a screen to make me afraid to where now I'm uncomfortable? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I like to be comfortable, man. Like I'm not trying to be scared for no damn reason. You know what I mean? Um, so so here's the thing, man. Like I went back and like like as a kid, like, I watched He-Man cartoons, you know, it was weird 'cause I was young. I didn't really realize what was going on in the He-Man cartoons like that. And there wasn't a whole lot, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there was like subtle things going on, but typically or generally speaking, it was like, Skeletor was a pest, and he was a villain, but he was more of a pest, you know? And it was kind of like Wile E. Coyote, like Roadrunner-ish, you know what I'm saying? Skeletor would like go make all these plans, and his plans always like fell apart at the last minute, and then He-Man always won. Um, but I guess Netflix, when they want to test a cartoon or if they want to test something, what they do is they like they'll like re-release, the cartoons or whatever. So back when I was in Orange County, I think it was like 2017-ish, I guess. They re-released the old He-Man cartoons, man. And I was rewatching them shits, and I just had them on in the background because it was nostalgic. It made me think about being a kid again or whatever. But I realized, man, how funny that cartoon was, man. Like to me, I think He-Man is really a comedy. That's where I think they messed up, man. Like they need to like make it like more of a comedy, you know? He-Man was like more of a comedy to me, if you really think about it. Um yeah. Um but when I was watching that cartoon, like Cringer was like the funniest. I think Cringer's the funniest cartoon character like to this day, you know. Um and when I was rewatching the He-Man cartoons, I was like, when I was looking at Cringer, I was like, man, all that time growing up when I was trying to be He-Man at recess, like, I was Cringer. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't want to tap into no fear. Like I didn't want to tap into no courage. I just wanted to be comfortable. That's all Cringer. Like Cringer just wanted to be comfortable. He was just chilling around the castle, chilling with Prince Adam. You know what I'm saying? He was just a laid back cat, man, that was trying to chill. Um, and then when it came time to right when it came like when it came time to get the business, it's like, man, I don't feel like doing that. Like every time I got in a fight when I was in middle school, it was like I didn't want to fight. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I saw a fight coming on and I knew I had to like, square up, like my heart would start racing, and I'm like, man, I don't want to fight, man. And then fuck it, you come out and you gotta throw down, And that was like the difference between, He-Man and Cringer, right? He-Man, I guess, didn't mind transforming into He-Man. Like it's one of those things where it was like he knew he had to do it, and he just did it. It wasn't like it wasn't like he was excited to turn into He-Man or um it was just kind of like, man, it was kind of just looks like this is like a job for He-Man, right? And he would just go in and go do the shit. And then Cringer was always hiding. But man, all the like the lines, like if you can go back and watch the old He-Man cartoons, man, watch every like transformation, man. When Cringer turns into Battle Cat, man, that shit is hilarious, man. Right? It's like there's some trouble coming around, and then Prince Adam will go, "Oh, this looks like a job for a He-Man," and then Cringer's like, "Oh, I was afraid you would say that. Do we really have to? Well, no, you go on. I'll be okay." And then He-Man will be like, come on, you big pussy cat. And then he'll he'll turn into he'll do the whole chant, by the power of Grayskull, and then point the sword or the power sword at Cringer, right? And then Cringer turns into this battle cat, man, and then talks all this shit. Right? Once Cringer becomes battle cat and once he gets going, it's like he just talk a whole lot of shit, you know? Um, because it's easy to talk shit when your adrenaline is up, you know what I'm saying? But it's hard. So that to me was an interesting dynamic between, He-Man and Battle Cat, right? It's like um He-Man just said, fuck it, if I gotta be He-Man, I'll be He-Man, right? And nothing pushed He-Man to um transform into He-Man. It was more of if a job has to be done, it has to be done, you know? Where Cringer needed like motivation to, you know, or something had to happen for Cringer to turn into Battle Cat. Like he wasn't going to turn into Battle Cat on his own. I mean, plus he couldn't. But not only not only was the fact that he couldn't, but uh like he didn't want to, you know. Um, and that's kind of how I am, man. Like if it comes time to like, you know, even when it came to like playing football or like running track or whatever it was like it was weird. Like I always had that fear, like, man, I don't want to compete. I mean, it's like you want to win, right? But you don't wanna, it's like you're not seeking like confrontation, you know what I'm saying? But it's like if you put yourself there, it's kind of like at a track meet or whatever it was, it's like I would put myself in a situation to where I had to compete. You know what I'm saying? Um, but it was like um, I don't know what it was. I just got nervous, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like how it is. But once you get going, it's like you want to take on and do more. Excuse me. Um, what else, man? Oh, man. So in addition to being afraid of the basement, I used to be afraid of the shed, man. Like my dad built this shed. Um, he built this shed or whatever when like a long time ago, like when I was young, he built this shed, and that was like our place where we would transition, you know, winter to spring clothes, right? Like our winter clothes would go up there in the summertime, and then when it was winter time, we go up and then put the summer clothes and do the swap and do all that. um, and man, I used to hate going in that shed, man, because I mean, like my dad and his friends, like they did a good job building the shed, but over time, the wood got warped and got dilapidated, I'm not sure if I said that word right, but we're gonna pretend that I did. Um, and man, I used to be afraid to go in that shed, man, because there were snakes up in that joint. You know what I'm saying? And every time I saw a snake in that bitch, um, like nobody, like no one believed me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm the only one. Like the snakes knew when I was going to the shed because they would only like show themselves, or they wouldn't mind hiding, or they wouldn't mind not hiding when I went up into the shed and shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so many times it happened, man. I'll go in the shed to get the lawnmower to cut the grass, and nigga, I see a snake coiled up around the damn lawnmower, and man, once like me, I don't do snakes, man. So once I saw a snake, I don't care what it was. I wasn't cutting grass. I wasn't doing shit. I mean, it didn't matter what it was, man. Like it could have been like we could have been like it could have been something where like 'cause my mom made me do chores in order for me to go and have my free time, right? Like I had to earn my free time. These kids nowadays, they don't do that shit. But if I wanted to go to like a roller skating party, or if I wanted to go play, if I wanted to watch TGI Fridays, chores had to be done. You know what I'm saying? So and then I couldn't like she'd make sure I couldn't have, or she'd make sure I didn't have my freedom if I didn't like do my chores, you know? So um nigga, when I saw a snake, every time I saw a snake in the shed, it was like, man, fuck free time, you know? Um like I could have been looking forward to going to this like roller skating party all month. But if I had to cut the grass before I went to the skate party, and if I saw a snake in that bitch, nigga, grass ain't getting cut. I'm not going skating, you know? Um, but anyways, uh my dad, when it came to like packing up the shed, like my dad could pack some shit, you know what I'm saying? Pause. I'm not sure if that's even pause. Yeah, it is pause. Like my dad could like pack some shit, right? Like he knew how to like under the stairs with the Christmas decorations. Like my dad could like he was like a professional human Tetris player. Like like if you had to like play a game, like if you had to play human Tetris where you had to like pack things in, my dad would win that shit, man, because he could line some shit up and take advantage of all the dead space. And if you found a dead space, he'd like, nah, move this out, put this back in, flip this box, this. Like my dad could make sure everything was packed in tight, you know? And when we were in the shed or whatever, like he had this thing where um yeah, like he had this thing where you couldn't put clothes in a cardboard box, right? You couldn't put clothes in the cardboard box. And if you put things in like a plastic container, you had to make sure it was taped down, right? Because my dad's biggest concern was like if you pack something up wrong and if you put it in the shed, he'd be like, Jay, no, no, you can't pack it like that in the shed. You can't do it like that. He said, because he said the mice will get in and they'll nest and make babies. That was like, he said that shit like 100, he said that shit like a million times, man. No, you can't put that in there like that. The rats will get in there and they'll nest and make babies. Oh man. Oh man, that shit was hilarious, man. But anyways, um, yeah, so when I got done like with my playing with my toys, like my dad, like we put everything in the shed. We had like all my toys in like a plastic container. And they're still in the shed, right? But we have a new shed now. My mom bought she knocked the old shed down and got it like torn down and taken out. But then my mom bought an Amish shed, man. Nigga, the Amish, and man, them Amish people, man, they can build some shit, man. Like my mom got an Amish shed right now, and all my toys are in there right now. Like they're in a plastic container taped down, you know. But the Amish shed, man, that shit is like seal proof, man. Like you could live in that shit. But anyways, I'm not trying to like talk about Amish shits like that. But back to the old shit, like we had a yeah, so my toys were packed in this one container, right? And I had Castle Grayskull. I still got Castle Grayskull in my shed. Um, but we packed, I don't know what happened, but we packed it in a way. And then I remember we were going through and doing our like spring cleaning or whatever, and we saw like snake skin like sheds all over the shed or whatever. And nigga, when we opened up the box and opened up Castle Grayskull, man, we saw like mice skeletons and snake skeletons in that joint, man. You know, like it was just like the bones of like the snakes of like it was a bone. It was like the bone of a snake and like the bone. It was like a lot of bones in the joint, man. Like little shit. It wasn't like massive, but it was like you see like little like mice skeletons, and then you see like little baby like snake skeletons and shit in there. Um, and that shit was funny, man, because it's like um Castle Grayskull is supposed to be like a safe place, it's supposed to be a safe place to like where all secrets are revealed at and all this stuff. But um the fact that we found mice skeletons and snake skeletons in that joint, man, that that shit wasn't safe, you know? Um so it's crazy how the mice, tried to seek refuge in Castle Grayskull, and man, Castle Grayskull had nothing for them. Castle Grayskull said they keep that shit moving. That shit was a death trap for the mice and the snakes, man. But it's ironic because like, in He-Man, a lot of people who don't watch He-Man or never watch He-Man, right? Like Skeletor, which to me was weird, right? Is Skeletor's home was Snake Mountain. It wasn't Castle Grayskull. Like a lot of people think that, oh, because they see Skeletor's face and they're like, and then you, because me as a kid, I thought that was kind of weird, like it's like how do you have a castle that's a skeleton or the face of a skeleton, and you got Skeletor and that's not Skeletor's home, right? Like, nah, he lived in Snake Mountain. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that I found snake bones or like dead snakes in Castle Grayskull to me is like pretty ironic. Um, but here's, man, you know what, man? He-Man, like the He-Man cartoon, man, that shit was like funny, man, because it was like one third of the cartoon was He-Man theme song, and then sound effects when they did the screen transitions or when they jump cut to different scenes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that shit to me was hilarious. I mean, when you watch it now, it's like funny, because you got this long intro, and then every intro he's telling the story of who He-Man is, right? And I could see it for like season one, but that was the whole, like they didn't change the theme song up. Like you had the what is it? You had the Filmation logo that He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Hi, I am Adam, Prince of Eternia and the Secrets of Castle Grayskull. Like I used to be able to recite the whole thing, but he's telling you the story of He-Man the whole time, you know, and he's like, "This is Cringer, my fearless friend." Like, and it's just the whole, like, as a kid I could recite that joint. Now it's like I know bits and pieces of it, but it's like they're telling the whole story for every intro, right? And I think another show like that, was Fresh Prince of Bel Air, right? Like Fresh Prince of Bel Air told you how he got to Bel Air, and it was like just it was like they didn't assume that people knew. It was like every time you watched the show, they had to reintroduce, you know, the beginning. So to me that whole concept is weird, right? Like, um, when you tell the story of how you got to where you're at, and it's like, yeah, if you've been watching the show, that's what you know it's about. So that's interesting. I never thought about that. But what else, man? What else makes no sense, man? Um, like Battle Cat, man. Let's talk about Battle Cat or Cringer, right? Who I relate to the most, right? Um, the thing that was crazy about Cringer, man, is like he would transform into Battle Cat when when Prince Adam became He Man, and it was like this big, massive introduction to him becoming Battle Cat. And the shit that's like crazy, man, is Battle Cat would talk all this shit. Like all of a sudden, Battle Cat got courage and he talking all this shit. And all he would do was push over somebody. That's the only thing he would do. Like, yeah, he would like, He-Man would like, get on the saddle and then they would go to battle or whatever. But then when it came time to fighting, Battle Cat would talk all this shit. Ah, ah, ah. You think, oh yeah, you want a piece of me? Ah, ah. Like he would talk all this trash, and then all he would do at most was push someone over a cliff, or push someone down. Like you got all this build up. He do all this shit, talk all this shit, and all he do is push somebody over. Nigga, that's funny, man. If you don't believe me, go back and watch some old He-Man cartoons, man. Like you'll see like 5 minutes worth of Battle Cat transformation, and all he does is push somebody over. Um, like another thing that's weird, man, that now that I went back and watched the cartoon again, is is Cringer, man. Like, um, so when Cringer was Cringer, he had like crooked teeth. You know what I'm saying? Like he had one tooth that kind of hung out in the front. But when he became Battle Cat, his teeth got straight. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just stupid, man. And then it's like when he goes back to being Cringer, his teeth go back to being crooked. I mean, I'm like, God damn, that's just hilarious. Um, and what's weird, man? We never see He Man and Battle Cat transform back into Prince Adam and Cringer. It's like once they're done fighting, they just do a jump cut, and then everything is peaceful again. Like that shit is funny. Um, what else is weird about He Man, man? That makes no sense. Um, like so Skeletor used to be. I think he's like he. I forgot his like real name, but he used to be a either He Man. Like he's related to He Man. A lot of people don't realize that, but he's related to He Man. It's like his cousin or his brother or something like that, or his like half brother or something. Um, and he used to be a blue person. Like he was a blue person or whatever. And like it's what's funny is like the only thing that got fucked up was Skeletor's face. That was it. Like his whole face was just like a bone, or but nothing else got messed up on Skeletor. But this, you know. So someone was so however he became Skeletor, um it's like what's that movie? It's like Face Off, right? Remember the movie Face Off, where you had that precise surgical cut, or the precise surgical cutting of the face off, and all the muscles and tendons in the face got ripped off, but everything else is left intact. So they got to explain that, you know. Um, what else is weird about He Man? Oh, something I noticed is when you watch the old cartoon, the chest plate has like a cross on it, right? It's like this cross or whatever. And then in the Netflix cartoon, because they did about 5 different cartoon versions of He Man, but in the most recent Netflix cartoon, it's a H on the front of the chest plate. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to I'm not trying to start no shit, but I think that cross that was on the front of He Man's chest plate, I think it's something uh not friendly. I think it's I don't know. I got like I said, it's like I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to like talk no. like I don't want to talk no tinfoil kufi shit, but I think it might have something to do with some WS stuff, if you know what the initials WS means, right? And I'll just keep it at that. Because they changed that for a reason, right? They changed that cross to an H for a reason. Um, what else? What else makes no sense in He-Man right now? I mean, now that I think about it, what makes no sense, man, is he got all these fucking secrets, right? And all he does is just get strong. Like he don't get faster. Um, he can't fly, right? He still needs all like these different vehicles to get around. It's like you would think that if you go to Castle Grayskull should be able to just teleport you to where you got to go. But he has attack tracks, all these different vehicles. It's like all He-Man does is just get strong, right? So really, it's like if you think about it, He-Man is like just just a motherfucker on PCP. You know what I'm saying? Someone that just gets real strong for a short period of time and they do damage, and then boom, that's it, right? It's like he's like a cross between the Incredible Hulk and Superman, right? Like with Superman, he doesn't have to, but he keeps his identity a secret, and no one knows that Prince Adam is He-Man, right? And they're both swole walking around and shit, but no one knows that that's He-Man, um, right? And then like with the Incredible Hulk, he just gets real strong, but he gets strong, like he gets angry, and that's when he turns into the Hulk. But He-Man has to channel his power through the sword, you know. So it's like, yeah, Castle Grayskull got all these secrets, and he has this magical sword, but he all he can do is get strong. Like he can't fly, can't do nothing. Um, and then in the cartoon, he was he went from being a pale bodybuilder to a bodybuilder with a tan, and then when he goes back, he back to being pale again. You know, so that shit makes no sense. Um, what else doesn't make sense in He Man or didn't make sense? Um, and it's interesting how they branded it, right? Like if you look at the cartoon, like the '80s cartoon, it was He Man and the Masters of the Universe. When they made the movies later, like when they made the movies, like I think they did two movies, and now we're on the third movie coming up. It's just called Masters of the Universe. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's interesting. You know, um, what else is weird? What else is weird about He Man, man? Yeah, we never see him transform back. Then you got Orko. It's gonna be interesting to see how they do Orko in the movie, man. Because Orko is like, if you don't know, he's like I think he's a sorcerer. See, I get the wizard. I get the terminology mixed up, right? But you got wizards and um, sorcerers and all that kind of stuff. So the sorceress is like the main one that kind of drives everything. But then you got Orko, who is like a magician slash wizard, right? And Orko's always fucking up, man. Like he's always like trying to work out some new potion, some new magic or whatever, and he always like goofs everything up. And sometimes his magic causes the trouble, which Skeletor tries to play off of, and then He Man has to come in and save the day. But then Orko might come through last minute and do something minor to help He Man become He Man. Right? That's kind of like who Orko or how Orko works. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they do Orko in the movie coming up. Um, but then what else is weird, man, about He Man? Um, but yeah, the song, man, it's like you had the long intro in the beginning, and then when he became He Man, they did it again, right? Minus the backstory, but you had to go through the whole song, and then you had the end credits where they play like the theme in the end credits. You know, But yeah, trying to think what else is weird about. Oh, Attack Tracks, man. So Attack Tracks was like this. Like it'll be interesting to see if they bring Attack Tracks into the movie. But Attack Tracks um is a it's basically it's like a tank kind of thing, and it has like these long like oval tank things, but then it's like the way that shit move is funny. Like just think of a tank, right? And think of like you know how you have the wheels on a tank and you have that belt that goes around the tank. Well, Attack Tracks had like these um like it was like a I can't explain it, but it's like um it's not, so just picture it, right? So instead of having like multiple wheels and a belt around a track, you have like a fixed metal like thing, and you have like one beam, and it just goes back and forth, and the shit goes like this. It's like who the fuck thought of that shit, man? Oh man, if they put that in the movie, I'm gonna die, man. Like I'm saying, He Man is a comedy, man. When you watch that shit, man, you'll be laughing, man. Like why? Like if you can find the old cartoons, man, watch that shit. Um, trying to find what's the other joint? You got and then you got Wind Raider. I think it's Wind Raider. I can't even say it. Wind Raider, I think it is. Yeah, Wind Raider. Um, that was like his flying machine or whatever. That like he flew around in and shit. Um, yeah, Wind Raider. Um, but Attack Tracks, man, that shit is the man. Watch that shit, man. The way that shit moves, man, and it's like why? It's like come on, man. Like Castle Grayskull couldn't help you come up with a better vehicle than that. Yeah, because I have Attack Tracks. Well, that's the name of my car. Attack Tracks. Let me see. I think it's yeah. It's spelled ATTAKTRAK. That's how you spell it. But look at that shit, man. It's like these things on the side, and they just like flip. Okay, enough of that. You guys are probably tired of hearing about Attack Tracks, but hopefully they had that shit in the movie, man, because that shit is funny, and they got to make it move the way it moved in the cartoon too. What else was what else makes no sense in He Man? What else, man, was weird? You know, um, but no, it's funny, man. As a kid, like I didn't even really care about all that stuff. It was really it was theme song, right? Like if you had a dope theme song, you know, it's like bad comedy, right? Like if you got one joke, but you keep hitting that one joke, people gonna keep dialing in to an extent, you know. Um, but nah, that theme song, man, it was like as a kid, that's all you wanted to do was when he turned into He Man. That's all you wanted, you know. So you didn't care about the plot, you know. But really, like as a kid, like what I remember from He Man as a kid is basically like Skeletor was more of a pest than he was a true mastermind, right? Like he was like Wally Coyote, right? He would try to formulate a plan, and he would use his magic and use whatever he could to try to get back at He-Man, or to try to discover or get to the secrets of Castle Grayskull. And he'd have this big immaculate plan, and then he had his cronies. You had like Beastman and Merman and Cyclops and Lockjaw, right? He would send his cronies to try to help him accomplish his mission. And then you had Evil Lynn, right? who was always trying to overthrow Skeletor or trying to go behind his back, you know. And then He-Man would just kind of like be He-Man at the right moment, right? Like Skeletor connect. So it was more of like that whole pest kind of thing, right? It's almost like that's kind of like the same dynamic with like Transformers, with like Starscream and like Megatron, right? Like Megatron was more of a pest, right? And then the Decepticons was just like a dysfunctional group of like highly intelligent like robots, you know? And uh like with Megatron, whenever they had to fight the Autobots and the Autobots started to whoop that ass, all you hear Megatron would start screaming out. Megatron would start screaming, "Retreat! Retreat!" You know? Or no, better yet, Megatron would just dip out. He wouldn't even tell the Decepticons. He would just dip out, and then Starscream would be the one that would scream out, "Retreat! Retreat!" And then they would all then go follow Megatron, and then he'll be like, I'll get you next time or whatever. Same thing with He-Man, right? Like Skeletor was always confident in his plan, and he had that annoying, that real annoying voice, you know. And then I'll get you, He-Man. Like I can't do the voice like that, but that's how he kind of sounded in the cartoon. And every cartoon ended with Skeletor saying, "I'll get you next time, He-Man." Right? So in the movie, when I'm looking at the previews, it's like when they try to make Skeletor this big scary person, it's like, I don't know. Like you have to make the dynamic work. Like if you're gonna change Skeletor, then you have to make an equal change to He-Man, right? Like you can't have He-Man be the He-Man that we knew in the cartoon or relate to the He-Man that we know in the cartoon, and then have Skeletor be this whole look like Skeletor but just sound scary. I mean, Skeletor wasn't scary. He was more of just a pain in the ass. Um but yeah, but nah, in the world of He-Man, I was definitely Cringer, man. You know, not by choice, that just by behavior. Like I'm not lazy, but it's like it's some shit jump off. Like I'm trying to like always take the least path of resistance. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't trying to like look like right now, right? Like for example, right? I carry. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it. Um, but I carry pepper spray on me. You know what I mean? And I carry pepper spray on me because my whole saying is I ain't got time for no unplanned cardio. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody want to come up and they want to squabble up and all that shit, nigga, move to the side, man. I ain't got time to be trying to like I'm not trying to prove nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so with me, it's all about the least path to it's all about the least path of resistance. Like I'm not trying to fight unless I absolutely have to. And if I get to that point to where I have to fight, nigga, I'm battle cat, nigga. And, and you better have someone that can like stop me or pull me off your ass, right? Because I don't like getting to that point. You know what I'm saying? So I think part of it is like when it comes to like just defending myself and self defense, it's like I don't like it's not a game. Like I'm not trying to go there, right? Like I ain't got time for that, man. Um, but yeah. So long story, and even in the street, right? Like if I'm in the street and someone's talking shit to me and they talking down to me, hey man, you a bitch. Hey man, I'm a bitch. What you gonna do about it, right? Like I don't care, like because I rather take that insult and just keep moving rather than to get worked up to whoop ass to now I got a case on my hands. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't trying to do all that. I ain't got time for that shit. So it's not that I'm afraid to lose. It's like I'm afraid that I just um won't stop. You know, like I'm afraid I just won't. Like I'm afraid I won't. Like I just won't quit. You know, because there is no like it's like taking off in a plane, right? Like there's a point of no return, right? When you take off, motherfucker, you take off. That's it. Until you land a couple hours later, you know? Like I'm not out here trying to act tough, man. Um, but but nah, my house, man, like when I was a kid, man, I was scared, man. Like like me in the basement were not best friends, yo. Like my mom, man, I just I did not fuck with the basement. I didn't fuck with the dark because I used to sleep with the light on. You know, like when I was even when I was like even an adult, I would keep the light on because I wanted to always see what was around me. You know, but my uncle Sammy taught me but now my uncle Sammy taught me way back when he was like because he used to get on me about having the light on in the room. He'd be like, "Why you got your light turned on in the room for?" I'm like, "So I can see what's around me." He said, "Look, when you have the light on at night in your room, people can see in and you can't see out, right? But if it's darker inside of your room, you can see out better than they can see in. So that gives you an advantage." So I was like, okay, I never thought about that, you know? Um, but nah, I always, like I said, I always wanted to avoid confrontation at all costs, you know, peaceful. Like I don't, you know, but if it's time to go to war, if it's time to go fight, man, then hey, it's not something I look forward to doing. But if I'm pushed to that point, if I'm pushed to that brink, then it's gonna be what it's gonna be, you know. Um, what else, man? You know what's funny? Like you know what's funny, man? uh, so back when I still got my He-Man toys, right? But um, I'll get to that in a second because I don't want this to get. Well, fuck it, I'll talk about it now. Shit. Um, so the Evil in He-Man toy was curvy than the motherfucker, man. I just like as a kid, I didn't like pick up on that, right? But for some reason, like I always like playing with Evil Lyn, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't know why, you know what I'm saying? But when I looked at the toy, I'm like, oh man, Evil Lyn was curvy. Like that was like the first, I think, toy that they actually gave some like curves to and shit. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know what I'm saying? And you know, when you young, you don't know what's going on. You just like you trying to figure out life. You know what I mean? And I used to play with Evil Lyn and like and like get a Woody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't trying to. I didn't know what was going on, but every time I play with Evil Lyn, like I'd be walking funny. You know what I'm saying? Didn't know why. But when I went back and looked at the toy, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that's why. You know? Um, and then the He-Man toy that I had, transition, the He-Man toy that I had, it had like this chest plate thing, right? So it had like a spinning, like his chest plate had like a spinning wheel, and if you tapped on it like multiple times, it would flip, and then it would look damaged, right? So that means that basically that meant that He-Man was getting fucked up. You know what I'm saying? So when you play with your toys, you know, and that chest plate would spin around, it had that like um damage joint, right? Small little details. Um I went back and I watched Before They Were Toys, right? I think it was on yeah, and Netflix, man, they did a good job with this. It was a documentary on Before They Were Toys or Before They Were Cartoons. I think it was Before They Were Toys, right? So it basically shows you how He-Man came about. Um and the shit is like creepy, man, how He-Man came about, man. The creator of He-Man, the first person he actually started drawing was Skeletor, right? And because I think it was like in the 60s or something, um he went to this guy went to the creator, right? he went to a carnival or a fair, and he went to like a haunted house, and in the haunted house they had like real decomposing bodies in the fucking haunted house. You know what I'm saying? So he remember being like traumatized by that, and there was a guy with like that was like decomposing or whatever, or he was already dead, but he was decomposing. The body was decomposing, and like all that was gone was like his face, right? So he had like a skeleton face that was like kind of, I guess, like fading away, or his face was fading away into a skeleton. And he remember being traumatized by that, and that's how he came up with the he came up with Skeletor with that, you know. But it's interesting to think about like the evolution of like toys and cartoons and shit like that, right? So with He-Man, the toys came first, then the cartoon, then the movie, right? With Ghostbusters, it was the movie first, then the cartoon, then the toys, because the cartoon characters look nothing like the movie characters, and the toys resemble the cartoon, you know. Um, so when you think about that, it's interesting, right? And He-Man, like He-Man, here's the thing: He-Man is a like I think we need to do a case study. It's already been done, but I think we need to find other things to relate He-Man to in life. You know what I'm saying? Just um uh other like social experiments, you know, because for example, with He-Man, a lot of people don't know like how He-Man got ruined, right? So back in the day, so the way I think the progression was when girls were playing with Barbies, right? Barbie was the big thing, right? Back in the day. And while they were playing with Barbies, the boys had like GI Joes or the little army men. You know what I'm saying? So it was a little army men maybe first, and then it was GI Joes that were small that just moved around weird, all the twisties or whatever. And then Mattel like wanted to like they wanted to like they wanted to experiment with a toy for the boys, right? So um the guy that created He-Man, right? I think Mattel and all them, they came together and they started making these action figures, right? And they were bigger, right? They were like stronger, they had more muscles. And when they were like studying like these kids like playing with it or whatever, or playing with the toys, you know, I think that's where I have the power comes from, right? Because one kid was playing with it and was like, "Yeah, now I have the power," right? Like, because they were playing with these toys, they felt like mighty when they were playing with these toys, you know. Um, and then uh, basically what happened is, if you don't believe me, go watch the documentary. But the girls that were playing with Barbies were getting like jealous of the boys having too much fun with the He-Man toys, you know. So Mattel then tried to get greedy, and they tried to then they then made She-Ra, right? So when they made She-Ra, right, that cut into He-Man's budget, and you know they thought the girls were gonna want to play with She-Ra, but the girls just were like, yeah, nah, now we gonna go back and forth with Barbies. So now you had all this money that got split between, or you basically had He-Man that got split, or the money that He-Man was generating that got split, and then they had to go make She-Ra, and then after that, you know, the um the ends didn't justify the means, you know, and then long story short, you know, the money that was when He-Man was thriving, the money that He-Man generated was basically being depleted because they were trying to support He-Man and She-Ra. And that's when He-Man died, like went off, or that's basically what killed He-Man, right? So um I'm not trying to sound like a Debbie Downer. I might do another episode on this. I might do another live stream on it, you know. Um like I support so look, I support the WNBA, you know. Um I like I like seeing girls get out there and hoop or the women get out there and hoop. But from a business standpoint and how they approached it, like to me, it's kind of like the same track that He-Man's going down. You know what I'm saying? But I'll cover that probably in another live stream. You know, because really it's more about marketing. It's not about women having the ability to play or not play basketball. It's really more about how they market it, right? That's kind of like where I'm coming from. But what else, man? Um, trying to think about some other stuff, man, from He-Man. Yeah, the toys. Yeah, okay, covered that. Um, but yeah, now the cartoon, like I said, it was the toys, then the cartoon, then the movies. And when I watched the movies, I'm gonna go back and rewatch like the old He-Man movies. Or they're not even He-Man, they're called Masters of the Universe. I'm gonna go back and watch the old Masters of the Universe movies. And because I watched them when I was real young. And I remember watching that shit, being like, man, this shit ain't He-Man, man. What the fuck is this? Like, like when you watch the cartoon, it's like you want to see something that, like, you saw some resemblances in the movie, but as a kid, I was like, eh, I don't know. But then now we got the new movie coming out, and it's weird, man. But I'm like, I'm not. I mean, I'm gonna watch it, obviously. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'm not excited, man. It's weird, because it's like the previews look amazing. Like what they did and how they regenerated all that stuff looks amazing. But to me, I feel like the crowning achievement is more into how can we make the movie look like a live version of the cartoon, right? That's what I think is the crowning achievement, right? And to me, it's like when you get lost in that, like that's part of it. Like you want it to look like that, but how much are you really going to tap into like the old episodes, Because really, like, there's no like fan base for He-Man. Like to me, I'm still shocked that they even made this movie, right? Because you don't see any kids playing with toys, talking about He-Man, none of that shit, Like He-Man is for like 40 and up, right? So when you go to the theaters, like kids are gonna go watch it, but they're not gonna know what they're really watching, right? But like the 40-year-olds and up are gonna be like, it's more like a cult kind of following now, you know? And I'm interested to see what kind of storyline are they gonna play with. Um, because like I said before, man, He-Man was really a comedy, man. Like that shit, when you go back and watch the cartoon, man, that shit funny. Um, but yeah, we'll see. Um, but what are your thoughts, man? Are you guys excited about the He-Man movie? Put it in the chat. Let me know. Let me know. Let me see who up on here. Put it in the chat. But I think part of it too is like I'm afraid of I don't know, I don't know. I think part of it is like I'm disappointed in Transformers because I thought Transformers was gonna be bigger than what it was. I thought it was gonna be something else, and they got lost in the whole novelty of, hey, how do we make these Transformers transform? Like people, I guess, were just so hell bent and so um fascinated with how these Transformers were gonna transform and how they were gonna look that they missed like a lot. Like they missed like key story points. I'm not gonna talk about. I'll probably talk about that in like another live stream that I do. But really, what movies should be doing is they should be answering the questions that um like they should be trying to answer the holes, you know, in the movies. I mean, they should be trying to answer the holes in the cartoons, right? Like, what happens when uh He-Man and Battle Cat transform back into, Prince Adam and Cringer? Like what does that process look like? Um, or what does that even like? What does that look like? Like, you know what I mean? Um, like the cartoons kind of, or the newer cartoons kind of tried to answer some of those things. Like they tried to say, okay, well, the magical spells or whatever the secrets were revealed on the sword, so they had it actually on the sword, and then he had to just say it, and then that's how he became He-Man. Um, but like, what are some of the whole like what are they like? There was one cartoon or Netflix cartoon um where there was an episode where um He-Man was fighting somebody and they took his sword and they thought that, you know, it was weird. Like, it would be interesting if they did this in the movie, but they took his sword and they thought that he couldn't become He-Man without his sword. And then Prince Adam was like, "Oh, well, what you don't know is um is my sword or the power sword is really just a channel, or it's just like a conductor, right? That just channels the power from him, or it controls the power to where, basically basically all it is it's a conductor, but he can still reach up and become He-Man. So he tried to become He-Man without the sword and just turned into this massive pile of mess. Like, that shit was crazy. Like, he was just this grotesque, like, muscle mass, right? And they all started laughing at him, but I forgot how he got out of that or whatever in the Netflix cartoon. But that would be interesting to like play around with that. Um, and then it's like, okay, well, He-Man must have learned that lesson. Like, look, yeah, like you can call on the power, but you got to channel the power properly. You just can't call on that shit, or you're gonna end up being a mess, right? I'm trying to think what else, man. The movie should. And then in the preview, they kind of like hinted at the theme song, right? So they played like part of it, but they played it real slow, and I was like, okay. I was like, okay, so that's what they're gonna do. But the Bear McCreary theme song to me, man, that shit is to me it's right up there with the classic He-Man theme song. Like, the Bear McCreary joint was the one that they played in the Netflix cartoon, and that shit is a banger, man. So it'll be interesting if they like kind of, well, I saw the composer, well, the person that did the score for Masters of the Universe. It's not Bear McCreary, so he probably can't touch or sample any of like his music or whatever. But it would be dope if they just had like a montage, or every time they changed, or every time he became He-Man, they played a different version, or they kind of went back and forth between, the Bear McCreary uh theme song and the original 80s theme song, you know? Um but nah, man. Yeah, what are your thoughts, man? You know? Are you excited for the new He-Man movie? If so, put it in the comments, man. Let's talk about it. AT is where it's at on most forms of social media. Um, oh, let me show you all this right quick. I did all this work. That's part of the reason why I was a little late, tuning in, man. But like, with me doing this He-Man or Masters of the Universe live stream, I had to put this up here, man. Let me go and show this. Um, because I got my cousins in my group chat, man, and they be giving me shit about this. So now y'all can give me shit about it. But let me pull this up, make sure I'm on the right thing. Let me see right quick. Um, there we go. We got that. We got that. Yeah, let me just show you a picture of Attack Tracks right quick. So first off, so I should have just pulled it up when I was describing it, but you live and learn. But Okay, why is my screen not showing? Here we go again with this nonsense. Okay. Huh. That's weird. Give me 1 second, peoples. Let me go ahead and close out it because this damn QuickTime player, man. This thing is this thing be pissing me off, man. Here we go. Okay, why? Here we go again, man. God damn it. Okay, what's going on? Why is this thing doing this again? Had everything all figured out. Okay, let's try this again. Let's close that out. This thing is real finicky, man. Huh. Okay. Shit. This thing is a pain in my ass, man. There we go. Finally. This thing is finicky than I don't know what, man. But here we go. Right. So remember I was telling you about attack tracks. So just think of the Scooby Doo mystery machine, and then those wheels they just like flop around like that. That shit is hilarious, right? So that's attack track. But uh, anyways, let me show y'all this. Um, yeah. So it wouldn't be right if I didn't put this up or show y'all this. But bam. Um, so for this is like back in 2018, I think, or 2017. We had a dress up day at work, and me and my coworker, Clarice, like we talked about like being He Man or whatever because she grew up watching He Man or whatever. Um, so it was like a joke, right? It was like, yo, let's be He Man and let's be Prince Adam and Orko. And we were like, she's like, man, you're not gonna do that shit. I'm like, you come as Orko, I'll come as Prince Adam, right? So we didn't even like there was no coordination or nothing. We just showed up to work, and she made her costume, I made mine, and yeah, I got the sword too. I still got the sword, the power sword in the back. But yeah, my friends or my cousins give me shit about this, but you know, um, all I say is, man, you had no childhood, man. Like like He Man was a shit back in the day. I don't care what nobody say. But anyways, um, that's that. So yeah, like I said, man, growing up, man, I was Cringer in more ways than one, man. You know, um, but yeah, go back and watch the cartoons if you get a chance, man. Um, and when you watch them, let me know, what are some of your favorite parts in the joint. Oh, here's one thing I didn't know, right? Like I just like I didn't just find this out, but I found it out like maybe like a couple years ago, right? When I was watching the Netflix new He-Man cartoon or the new Masters of the Universe cartoon, right? The whole time I thought that Man at Arms was the name of a person, right? But Man at Arms it's like a soldier, you know? So Duncan, who's being played by Idris Elba, right? Idris Elba is playing Duncan, who is a man at arms, right? Or like the main one, right? But in the um in the Netflix cartoon or the most recent one, the man at arms was a female, right? and I forgot her name, right? But Duncan wasn't in that one. Or no, Duncan was in that one, but they focused on this other female being like the lead man at arms or whatever, you know. So yeah, that was another random fact I just threw out there. But yeah, man, if you're excited for the He-Man movie, put it in the comments. You know, let me know. You know what I mean? Uh, and know what else is interesting? I'm sorry, I'm just circling back. You know what else is interesting is it's crazy how you got the Michael movie, the Michael Jackson movies coming out with, and then you got He-Man coming out, right? Like those were like growing up. It was like, you know, Thriller and He-Man, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's interesting how those two coincided to come out like not only in the same year, but like around the same time, you know? So that's pretty interesting, you know? Um, yeah, I think I said enough. AT is where it's at on most forms of social media. So make sure you follow me. And without further ado, I'm out of here, folks. Peace. Yep. Tripping with Theo Bold.
Let's go.
Caliente.
Tripping.
Yep.
Tripping. Tripping. Tripping with Theo Bold. Tripping with Theo Bold.